Hey everybody, thanks for watching Poorly Optimized review of Shadowrun Returns. Harebrained Schemes, a cyberpunk tactical turn-based role-playing game, god that's a mouthful, attempts to breathe new life into an older genre, the isometric role-playing game. This genre happens to be a favorite of mine. Baldur's Gate 2, for example, is in my top 10 games ever list, so Shadowrun has a lot to prove. When you hop into Shadowrun for the first time, you'll notice it has all of your classic RPG elements, starting with character creation. Character creation allows you to choose from humans, elves, dwarves, orcs, and trolls, each with their own unique look and advantages. The advantages manifest themselves as initial boosts to stat categories, as well as lower or higher caps on particular skills. Choosing any race doesn't gimp your ability to play as you like, but if you intend on making a straight brawling brute, it would behoove you to choose either the orc or troll, as they can advance the furthest in the strength and body categories. You can customize your character's look to your liking, but in an MMO this is not. The depth of customization is very shallow. A great big bushy beard is about the only noteworthy addition you can make. After your look is perfected, you can select your preset class or customize your character yourself. Class archetypes aren't that different from what you'd expect from an RPG. All of the classics are represented. There are melee or ranged warriors, support or damage focused mages, and technology-driven deckers and riggers. Luckily, choosing any one class doesn't limit you from advancing in a completely different set of skills later, so feel free to build those ever-popular tech mages. Completing objectives in the game awards you with Karma and New Yen. Karma is the currency you'll use to level up your different attributes like Body, which increases your resistance and hit points, or Close Combat, which strengthens your proficiency with melee weapons. Advancing your skills also unlocks special abilities to unleash on your enemies. On the other hand, New Yen will be used to hire teammates and buy new gear, supplies, and spells. The shops offer a very basic selection of weapons, grenades, and medkits, with only a handful of extra items being added along the way. Shadowrun's narrative begins with the player character receiving a comlink message from a long-lost friend, Sam Watts. It won't take you long to discover that Sam can no longer be counted among the living. This is only a failsafe he implemented called a dead man's switch. The purpose of all this is to transmit his final wishes in the event of his untimely demise. It turns out that Sam's been murdered and is offering 100,000 New Yen to bring his killer to justice. As a down-on-your-luck Shadowrunner, you'll welcome any positive cash flow, so it goes without saying that you're taking the case. Sam's murder mystery will take you to bleak cyberpunk Seattle on the trail of a serial killer named the Ripper. You'll encounter betrayal, cults with aspirations for world domination, and warrior bugs. If that sounds a bit disjointed to you, that's because it is. Just hang on for dear life. The combat in Shadowrun plays out as a series of squad versus squad tactical battles where cover, timing, and line of sight are key. You'll need to position your party members carefully to prevent them from being left out in the open or outflanked, while also being aggressive enough to not get bogged down in what become lengthy battles. Combat is simple at its core with shot difficulty and defensive attributes governing hit chance. The interesting elements come from deciding how you'll tackle each challenge. Aside from your typical arsenal of ranged and melee weapons, you can also employ a wide array of abilities ranging from minion combat drones to mage support spells. Shadowrun requires that you handpick your teammates that will support you through each mission, so team customization allows for flexibility and creativity. Your class will never feel completely limited due to this, as you'll be able to add the key support mage or healer, even if you didn't feel like becoming one yourself at the start. There are a few times you need to leave the meat world and enter the Matrix. The gameplay is augmented slightly in these sequences. Different abilities and attributes decide how effective you are in combat, but it is virtually the same content with more neon colors. Taking your time to investigate each situation awards you with different dialogue options and numerous ways to complete tasks. You can also spend your precious karma on charisma, learning different social etiquettes to unlock even more dialogue options. The new dialogue and choices didn't feel as meaningful as they could have. Ultimately, you'll feel as though you're on a rail, which is perfectly fine, but the reverse is teased. Even with promising elements, Shadowrun is not without its faults. Combat leaves something to be desired with questionable AI, and seemingly easy point-blank shots become an impossible feat with certain classes like my melee orc. This flaw becomes readily apparent and critical later in the game. On top of that, the story lacks focus and is unsatisfying as a result. But the biggest downfall for me was a lack of a manual save. It doesn't seem to be a big deal at first, but when the difficulty is amped up, it makes you live in fear of barely finishing a section and being rewarded with an autosave, only to find the next sequence is impossible given how poorly you did previously. Other bugs simply border on the bizarre. The negative points don't ruin the game, but they are noticeable. On the whole, Shadowrun is far from a perfect game. However, Harebrained Schemes had the foresight to turn their game over to the modding community, and subsequently it has full Steam Workshop support. With enough solid core gameplay in place, the experience will be absolutely enhanced by the modders. If you're willing to search for creations and tincture with your own to perfect what amounts to a solid start, then Shadowrun is a chance worth taking. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.